ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone. My name is Laura Schmidt, and I'm a program mentor in the School of Business. And we have been looking forward to this day for, several weeks now. So we're really excited to have Phil here with us tonight. I just want to do a couple of housekeeping things right at the beginning here. We are going to ask that you save questions until the end. Some things might be answered along the way, and then we'll give you time at the end for questions and answers. If you want to put anything in the chat along the way, you can. Jana and I will be keeping an eye on that, and we're happy to address them there. And then I just want to let you know that this session is going to be recorded so that we can capture the discussion. And for anyone that wasn't able to make it tonight, that they'll be able to receive that later. But just to keep that in mind as well. After the meeting, we'll send you an email with any resources or links, and then the video recording as well. So, Jana, do you want to introduce our guest?
Sure. So, hi everyone. I'm Jana Shaps. That last name might sound familiar as our speaker is Phil Shaps tonight. That's my dad. I am a mentor here at WGU, and I am so excited to introduce Phil Shaps to our team and have him tell you all about his awesome time at Universal Pictures and about himself. So, warm welcome to Phil.
I guess that's my cue. Well, thank you for joining us this afternoon or evening or wherever you are. And it's a pleasure to be able to present some of the things that I did and tie them into what you're learning right now. In fact, I wished I had learned some of these things because probably I would have gotten to where I wanted to go a lot faster. If you look on the slide, it says, "Don't dream it, be it." That's something that goes back to the Rocky Horror Show. Believe it or not, he said, "Don't dream it, be it." And it always had some kind of significance. And I've sort of adopted that. So rather than dream it, be it. Get off the couch and take action. So anyway, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff today, and I hope I don't bore you, but just a little bit about me. I am a senior evaluator in the marketing group at WGU, and I was the executive director of marketing at Universal Pictures. I was also a director of marketing for a software company, United States, EMAP, which was Europe, Middle East, Asia. And the three pictures that you see on the screen, the first one is the Magic Castle. The Magic Castle is the most exclusive nightclub in Los Angeles. The only way you can get in there is if you know a magician who performs there or has performed there or is a member. As it goes, I was rather lucky because the people that owned it were neighbors down the street. So the first time I was there when I was 13 years old, and it has grown immensely. I mean, it's just an amazing place, and if you ever have an opportunity to go in there, it's wild. The next one is E.T. and Elliot, and this actually was filmed. This scene, I know a lot of people think that a lot of these films are filmed outside and at night or whatever, but these are all actually filmed in sound stages and they're lit to look like they're outside. E.T. was an amazing movie, and we'll talk about it later, especially how it all came about and the different challenges. The next one is Jurassic Park, and that came from a Michael Crichton book, and it was also kind of a challenge because it involved dinosaurs. Most of most of Jurassic Park was shot at Universal Pictures. And having worked there or worked, I could go at lunch and walk on the sets. And so whatever you saw other than the outdoor scenes like running, that was in Hawaii, I was able to walk around and, you know, but it never looks like it does, when you see the movie. It is just completely different because the lights aren't on and, it's just sort of gray. Anyway, we're going to move on. Let's talk about what this is all about and where I'm going.
I think you're
Phil,
muted,
you're
Phil.
muted. It should be at the top. You should be able to unmute yourself.
How about now?
There you go.
Yep, good.
Okay, I'll start again then. I spent over 20 years at Universal and working on more than 400 films. So some of the films that are not here is like I did Back to the Future, The Grinch, Animal House, A Beautiful Mind, just, the Blues Brothers. Those are the ones that came to mind. Schindler's List was a great film. So I work closely with directors like Steven Spielberg and Ron Howard, and I've also been a magician at the Magic Castle, and I pointed out the Magic Castle. I've done underwater photography. I've been a musician, but I was more of a drummer than a guitar player. But I had a dream, and we'll talk about dreams because when I was I don't know, about 15, I had a dream that I would get every guitar I've ever wanted. I now have 28 guitars that are amazing, and my collection will go with Jana, and she will be the Lord of the guitar. I've written, and today I'm going to be your presenter. So, are you ready to get started? If I bore you, just wave and I'll try to go faster. All right, here we go. All right, so movies and magic have something in common. Both rely on communication, timing, and trust. What is this thing about communication? Well, the three C's are communicate, communicate, communicate. How does anybody know what you're thinking, what you want, unless you communicate? When we were little kids, remember we wanted our little sippy cup. We we said, I want my little sippy cup. So we communicate. And that's as simple as it is. In the movie business, we're telling you a story. We're communicating with you. We're selling you a product, and that is entertainment. So let's keep going. So just like magic, communication works best when it's clear, intentional, and engaging. And those really are the most important things. To be clear with your message, have intent, and engage people, just like I hope I'm engaging you this afternoon or this evening, wherever you are. And if you're in Japan, it's probably the morning. So, in this presentation, I'll show you how feedback and strategic communication shaped my career in the film industry. And I think that's what you're studying. So to make that, to tie those together is amazing. It was amazing for me to see that you're studying things that took me so long to identify. And that's why it's really an honor to be able to give back today. So we're going to talk, as I said, about feedback and strategic communication and how it shaped my career. And it may, in fact, shape your career. I hope so, if you learn about it. So we know feedback is a growth tool. not a grade. Why? Absolutely. We grow from feedback. If somebody says they don't like your glasses, you ask why, and we get a conversation going. So it's really important to communicate in order to get feedback in order for you to grow. So it's a process, and you'll see as you learn to communicate in your way. So what I mean is feedback is a growth tool. Okay. It isn't about judgment, it's about insight, about knowing you. When we listen, we adapt and we grow. Have you ever been with somebody and and you didn't quite understand what they were saying and you said, "Can you repeat that?" or "Can you reframe that?" or "Why not? I just didn't understand it." Sometimes we're afraid because, you know, people don't think that we get them unless we understand them. But if we don't understand them, we'll never get them. So ask, what are you saying? Ask questions, get feedback from them. So we listen, we adapt, and we grow. And communication gives us the information we need to grow. So the fun part. One afternoon, I was called into a small conference room, and there was about 11 people, including Steven Spielberg. And I remember he was sitting about 2 chairs away from me. And I remember he said that he had a film that he was producing at MGM called Poltergeist. And however, he wanted to put all of his efforts into a film that was finally called E.T. Now, at this time, nobody knew anything about E.T. No, I mean, a few people read the script. Nobody saw any of the movie, or maybe the executives did. We had no idea what this thing was about. And we got a couple of ideas from Steven as to how he wanted to promote it. So he wanted to work. Actually, oh, I should mention that the title for ET was called A Boy's Life. But in the film industry, we always test the film. We get feedback. So we bring in an audience and we show them
Difficult.
the. Are
Did I
we
hear?
back?
Oh,
Yeah,
I hear him.
he's
I
back.
don't see him, but I hear him.
He's back.
Yeah.
Yay.
Okay. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. What was I talking about? Okay. So was I talking about ET, right?
Yes, you were about to tell us the story of E.T., or you were in the middle of telling the story about
Okay, so anyway, we contacted Hershey's. Oh, did I tell you that we did a product placement so that Reese's Pieces agreed to um,
You got to go
advertise?
back further. You have to go
Oh,
back further.
okay, I'm going back further. Good. Okay, one afternoon we called into a small. We were called into a small. I'm talking about the same movie. Yes, we're talking about E.T. Okay. One afternoon, we called into a small conference room, and there was about 11 people, and Steven Spielberg was one of them. And I remember he said that he had a film that he was producing at MGM called Poltergeist. However, he wanted to put all of his efforts into a film that was finally called E.T. Actually, the working title for E.T. was called A Boy's Life. But in the film industry, we always test the film and the title and the poster art to get feedback and see what people think of it. The first thing we learned is that people did not like the title, A Boy's Life, so we finally came up with E.T. The other thing was that people loved the art of E.T. and Elliot's fingers touching. So if you saw the posters, you saw the two fingers touching, and that was such a great image. Uh, the image that you see on the screen with the little boy crossing over the moon, that is actually Amblin or Steven's logo. And he also did a movie poster that looks like that for E.T., and he gave it out to all the people that worked on the film. So in the meeting, we discovered we had a problem. Steven shot the film using M&Ms as a way to entice E.T. up and bring him up to his bedroom. M&Ms would not agree to a product placement deal, and that's when we put their product. Let me go back here. So M&Ms would not agree to a product placement deal, and so that's when we put the product into the film. And so a few of us went downstairs to the corner store and we found Reese's Pieces. They looked just like M&Ms. Steven approved it. We contacted the Hershey company who make Reese's Pieces, and they agreed to a product placement deal and using ET on their candy packages. Spielberg reshot several scenes with the candy, and the rest is history. So feedback and communication helped to make E.T. one of the top films in history. Now I'm going to show you a little bit of it with we reshot it with Reese's. But the funniest thing that I saw today is look at E.T.'s hands. They're like, I mean, today you'd never see that because they use AI and CGI and all of that. But these were like little ET gloves. So, it's crazy stuff. Well, you remember that? That was quite an amazing time. In fact, when we saw it the first time, I was in a theater with all the executives, and when the lights went on, they were all crying. I'll never forget that. And that night, the employees came in. I saw a second, um, I saw it a second time, and then I was crying because, I think one of my dreams has always been that there were aliens and I would be taken away into outer space. I'm not sure that's one of the dreams that are going to come true, but it's sure fun to have dreams that, that will never come true because we hold on to our dreams. So in the film industry, giving feedback means telling a director or producer what's working and what isn't in a way that they can actually use. So receiving feedback sometimes is hard. You have to set your ego aside. And incorporating feedback means being willing to change directions, like switching from M&Ms to Reese's Pieces. That one small change had a massive ripple effect. I still like M&Ms, and I don't know. I never got my free Reese's, but it was so much fun to watch ET, and everybody was so excited, and the merchandise, and what a great time. So take a few seconds and think about the best piece of feedback you've ever received, and how did it change your path? I'm sure there's one thing, like maybe somebody said to you, you'd be a great teacher, and you thought about it and you became a great teacher. Or, you know, uh, how about this one? You should get your car fixed. And you got your car fixed and you're able to go to the market. Um, so I don't know. I think feedback is so important. And I'm wondering, can you give yourself feedback? We started working on Jurassic Park. Nobody knew if the technology would work. And this was a Michael Crichton film. Book, and we had it made into a screenplay. And the question was, can we combine like puppets and animatronics with CGI and in a believable way? And T-Rex was the biggest risk because if it didn't look good, if it looked fake, or silly, we had no guarantees that this film was going to do. We were really banking on the fact that the Jurassic Park T-Rex was going to be realistic. One day the rain was pouring down, and that afternoon we were told to go downstairs and wait for a bus. And all of us were standing by the curb, and a bus came. We walked on the bus, and the bus took us to this nondescript kind of building. And we got off the bus and walked in, and there it was. There was T-Rex. And the way it was made was quite interesting. I mean, it was the full size T-Rex, and it was sculpted in clay. And then from the clay, they poured plaster of Paris over it to make molds. Then they poured like vinyl or something in there to make like a mask. And then they put it all over. So it looked like the skin was moving. And it was something to see. It was the most amazing thing that I had ever seen, because here it was, but it looked really fake to me until I saw it on the movies. And in the bottom here, you could see the lower uh, T-Rex, and also at the top. Now, in the front, in the bottom one, it looks like this thing is huge, but in reality, it's closer to the camera than in relationship to the people standing around. The T-Rex was big, but it wasn't huge. I mean, it was, I can't even guess, but to see it, it was amazing. And so many people worked on it. And you can see in the bottom picture that it looked like real skin. People had to actually sculpt every one of those little lines and marks. Then people had to paint it on top of that. Then they had to have people operate it. So it was an amazing situation. Now the thing is done by computers. You can have computer artists build, dinosaurs and ETs and all of that. But, this was state of the art back then. And to be able to see how this developed, and remember what we talked about feedback. Well, we got the feedback, and that's how it helped the film industry grow. If nobody was interested, nothing would happen. And so films like this became very popular. We had Jurassic Park. I worked on Jurassic Park 1, 2, and 3, and Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3. Tons of films. Blues Brothers 1 and 2. People wanted to see these movies. So by testing, adapting, and trusting the process, this became one of the most iconic scenes in movie history. Remember this one? Now, this is a better picture. This is the size that I saw of Tyrannosaurus Rex, the T-Rex. Um, and the mouth was closed, obviously. And when they have the puppeteers with these rods, they can open and close the mouth and move it either way. It was insane. It was the most, when you saw them do it, it didn't look real. But when you saw it on the movie, Steven Spielberg is an amazing storyteller, and he knows just the right angles and the right lighting, and an amazing guy. Really, really nice man. So remember at the beginning, I said, don't dream it, be it. I've always believed it's important to dream, but it's even more important to take action. My motto has been, don't dream it, be it. So I'm trying to be it. I've had an amazing career, and so will you, if you learn to communicate. Foundations of strategic communication. I want to share how my two hobbies, playing guitar and performing magic, helped me to go from selling shoes to marketing blockbuster films at Universal Pictures. Along the way, I learned that communication isn't just a skill, it's a foundation for growth. So, dreams plus action. I just saw that and I thought dreams plus action. Right now, I'm dreaming about a Big Mac, large order of fries, and a chocolate shake. The only way I can get it is if I take action. I got to get in the car and drive to McDonald's. I just may do it after this. Now that I'm excited about it, I'm going to take action. And that's what I'm going to have for dinner. So, dream work in the film industry. That was my dream ever since I was a little kid. Action. Well, I was interested in music and also magic. So these were the things that I dreamed of, and these are the things I could do. Now, how do you take everything you want and turn it into what you dream of? So let's turn the screen and find out how I did it. So music gave me expression. I bought my first Fender Stratocaster with the help of Jimi Hendrix. Really. My mother gave me $125 to buy a guitar. I went to the Guitar Center and I picked a different guitar and Jimmy was there and we talked briefly and he said, "Don't buy that guitar." And I said, "Which one should I get?" He went over to the rack, he pulled a Fender Stratocaster. I couldn't even afford the case, and he did a little thing on it, and I bought that one, and I still have it. That was my first electric guitar, and now 28 guitars later, I have Martins, Fenders, Gibsons, Gretsch, Taylor. So that was a dream of mine to be able to buy every guitar that I wanted. And it wasn't going to happen. My parents didn't make very much money. And it was really up to me to dream it and to eventually take action when I could. So I worked at the Magic Castle in Los Angeles where I would open my act with, "Hi, my name is Phil. I never wanted to be a magician. I wanted to be in the film industry." And that always got a laugh. My other line was, "If Montgomery Wards ever burns down, all that's going to be left standing is a polyester ball." I don't think they have Montgomery Wards anymore, but anyway, through those hobbies, I was learning that action, not just dreaming, is what creates opportunities. What do you think? So, music taught me how to express myself without words, and magic taught me the importance of timing and clarity because if you're unclear, the trick fails. Humor taught me how to connect with people, break down barriers, and build trust. Those experiences build a foundation, clear, intentional, and engaging communication. Whether it was an audience in the Magic Castle or colleagues years later, the lesson was the same. The right message delivered the right way creates impact. So when we communicate, we need to give our audience something that they can't get anywhere else. So it's nice to be creative and giving, but remember, try to use short-term novelty. Try to give something they would never be able to get from any other person. You're unique, and they should receive a unique and interesting message. One of my most important lessons I learned early was to make people aware of who I was and what I could do. Performing at the Magic Castle in Hollywood gave me visibility. One evening, a woman introduced herself. She was an HR manager for Universal Pictures. We had a short conversation, but the brief connection led to a phone call on Monday morning. She offered me a 3-month temporary job in the accounting department. That opportunity came from being visible. She saw me at the Magic Castle, from showing up, and from making sure others could see my skills in action. So I was personable, and she liked that I was secure and I was able to deliver the skills that she was looking for. A 3-month opportunity, leaving a steady job and choosing growth over comfort. At the time, I had a steady job. Taking the 3-month temporary role meant giving that up with no guarantees. So I kept asking myself, what happens after the 3 months? Well, I called my dad for advice. This is the same man who said once, if you don't get an education, you'll have to move out. I asked him, what should I do? He gave me a one-word answer, go. That single word shaped my decision, and I worked at Universal Pictures for 23 years. Sometimes you have to weigh risk against reward and trust that stepping forward is better than standing still. So, my growth through the roles. I was a magician. I was a Santa Claus photographer at a department store. I was a manager of a shoe store. I was a temporary accounting clerk at Universal, a junior publicist, a senior publicist, a manager of co-op advertising, director of print advertising, executive director of marketing, and there are other things, but we're out of space. So every step along the way, communication was at the center, persuading others, presenting ideas clearly, navigating challenges, and building trust. The roles changed, but the foundation remained the same. Communicate with clarity, purpose, and confidence. So, dream plus action equals opportunity. I want you to say that. Say that out loud wherever you are. Just say dream plus action equals opportunity. What does that mean? You have a dream of something you want. You have to take action, and taking action will help you achieve that opportunity. And opportunity needs communication in order for you to grow. So my story is proof that dreams are only the beginning. Action is what turns them into reality. By expressing yourself, connecting with people, and making your skills visible, opportunities will come. And when they do, the way you communicate with clarity, courage, and confidence determines how far you can go. And I was thinking about it. How far can you go? Demonstrated that I was a pretty successful marketing guy at Universal. And you haven't heard any of my music, so I'll just go da 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 da. That was it. But I think you really want to see a magic trick. So I want to try an online magic trick with you. And if you'll just follow along, maybe we'll create a miracle together. So carefully listen to my voice and don't fall asleep. Put your finger on any one of the circles that you see on the screen. Okay, now if you want to change it, go ahead and change it now. Change it to another circle. All right, now leave it there. Now listen carefully. I want you to move your finger left or right to the nearest diamond. Okay, left or right to the nearest diamond. Then move your finger up or down to the nearest circle. Then move your finger diagonally to the nearest diamond. And now finally, move your finger right or left to the nearest circle. You've had your choice throughout this entire magic presentation. Let me see how good I am. Did I get it? Okay. What a cool trick. So now we're going to do some questions. And I hope, unfortunately, there was a pause in there. I hope you guys can edit that together. But any questions that you have, I'd be happy to answer if you'll just type them in and Jan and Laura can read them out and I will answer for you.